corruption. So here we had the Panama Papers at the same time when Judith Collins went off to this anti-corruption conference. I want to ask you a direct question. Annette King, does New Zealand have a problem with corruption?
I think we do, and we're now called the most respectable tax haven in the world. And I think that we should be fast leaders in this area rather than slow followers. And I just take the Prime Minister's words. If you've got nothing to hide, nothing to fear. So why don't we be more transparent and provide the information?
Chris Bishop, what about that? Do we have a problem with corruption?
This idea that New Zealand is a tax haven is ludicrous, right? 2013, the body that actually examines these things did a review of our tax laws. We are one of the most compliant in the world. So this idea we're a tax haven is wrong. And I'll just point out the tax laws that are around foreign trusts were put in place in 2007 when Annette was sitting in cabinet,
He's
not
been
the national
away
government.
over in the States and other places. He forgot about the 2010 Act. That's his problem.
Chris, accept that Mossack Fonseca said to their clients, quote, New Zealand an appealing place to set up a foreign trust.
Yeah, but look, you've got to remember, there's nothing absolutely illegitimate about foreign trusts. Lots of people have foreign trusts for good reasons. In fact, a Green Party donor had a foreign trust. Greenpeace is in the Mossack Fonseca papers.
No, that's
Mojo
wrong.
Mathers has got
You're
a foreign
wrong.
trust. So
Wrong.
lots of people for very legitimate reasons have property that they want to protect.
To the corruption, Tracy Barton, does New Zealand have a problem with corruption?
Yeah. And it's a growing problem. I think it's really interesting. If you look at the United Nations and the 4 things that it takes to actually have a place where corruption thrives, one of them is where your inequality starts to widen. The other one is where you have lots of things like order in council, where a law doesn't have to come back to the parliament and in front of the people. This government's really good at that. Another one is where NGOs are afraid to criticise the government because they'll lose funding. And the last one is that it took this long to actually ratify the United Nations anti-corruption legislation. We've got a bigger problem than this trust stuff, but this is the tip of the
let's go to the
iceberg.
Revenue Minister. What do you think?
No, I'm not the Revenue Minister.
I'm sorry. Do we have a problem with corruption?
No, I don't think we have a problem with corruption. I think we have a problem of being perceived negatively in that respect.
What's the difference?
I think the difference is the perception becomes the reality. I think our law is robust and clear, but I think that that's secondary to the way we are perceived. And I think the risk is that we are increasingly perceived not so much as corrupt, but as potentially corrupt.
But what if we're slipping? The fact is that we were the top for 7 years until 2013. Now we're the 4th. Chris, that's got to be a worry. We are slipping.
Yeah, but we are slipping. Yeah, and there are probably reasons for that. But
what are the reasons? What are the reasons for it? Do you think?
Well, just point out.
We are slipping. What are the reasons for it?
We are the 4th least corrupt country in the developed world.
We used to be first.
We're the 4th. We used to be first, and we've got to pass legislation to get us back up that level. And we're in the process of doing that. Passing anti-money laundering legislation, passing things like FATCA
a whole lot of
and other
people
things.
that you didn't need
so we've got to get there.
All right. What do you think?
With the anti-money laundering legislation, which was sort of broken into 12 different bills. So I go to the bank to try and open a bank account to send money to my friend, and I have to declare that I'm not an American.
But that's not. That
was part of that legislation that went through last year that actually had to be broken into 12 bills. And so it's part of. It also got caught the old ladies with the 18-plus card.
That is actually a tax bill that I oversaw when I was Minister of Revenue because of changes made by the Americans where they sought to have access to New Zealanders' bank accounts. And what we said then was they could on the condition that the person had financial interest in the United States, but not a general sweep.
All right. So a public register of company ownership, including foreign beneficiaries, that's what's going to happen. So do we suddenly, Chris, have a problem with foreign ownership in New Zealand?
No, well, that issue that you raised may happen. So that came out of the anti-corruption summit that just finished a few days ago. And New Zealand and a lot of other countries have said, we will look at that. It's reasonably complex. We've got to get it right. But that I think, in principle, that's quite a good idea.
All right. Okay, look, I want to know what you think about this. At Backbenchers TV, are we slipping in the corruption index and why? What are your thoughts? We're back with student debt reaching $15 billion. More on that.